Good morning! Thought I would take a break from some of my kitchen videos and do a beauty video since I have yet to put on makeup. But I've gotten a few compliments on my skin lately, and being a former radio personality, I am so used to oversharing everything I do, so I thought I would just put it out there to the world or anybody who might be interested. I'm Angela Chase Triplet, and I have now undergone Fraxel Laser treatments twice, and my husband even decided to do the Fraxel treatment. We've both been very happy with the results. Obviously, that's why I did it a second time. My plan is to do a Fraxel treatment once a year. I think he wants to actually do it a little bit more frequently because he does have some acne scarring, and that's something that he'd like to get rid of. But I'll go ahead and start with my Fraxel treatment. Before I did it, I did a lot of research, and I did see a lot of people on YouTube, including dermatologists and plastic surgeons, saying that they didn't really like the Fraxel. They feel like it's an outdated laser. And I get that they want to use the latest on the market, but I'm going to tell you something. The fact that the Fraxel isn't necessarily the newest piece of technology on the market makes me feel comfortable. In fact, I think I'm more comfortable than something that's new because it means it's been tested a lot more. It's going to have had more troubleshooting. I just feel like the longer something like that has been around, the more we know about it and the better the result we're going to get. So that's how I feel about the Fraxel. I get it from my dermatologist's office. My dermatologist doesn't actually do it. She does these flash sales whenever she is out of town, so it's half off, and her nurse does the treatments, but she's been doing them for, I don't know, like 10 years. Like, she's got a lot of experience with it, so I do trust her, and I've been happy with my results, so I'll keep going back to her. But the first time I did the Fraxel treatment, the reason I wanted to do it is because I did notice, I blame myself for this. I bought an over-the-counter, don't ever do this, I bought an over-the-counter microdermabrasion kit that some YouTuber talked me into, and really regret that because I didn't necessarily follow instructions, and I went up here close to my eye area, which you can still sort of see has a little bit of staining. I gave myself melasma, and it was one of those things I kept hoping would go away. I had a few facials. I did have microderm after that. And basically the estheticians told me that I'm just sort of stuck with it. So at my dermatologist's office, I asked what I could do about it. And they said Fraxel or IPL lasers could help. So I thought, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. I went in the first time. This was in August of 2021. August is kind of not ideal when you live in Texas because you are extremely heat and sun sensitive, and August in Texas is very, very hot. But I wanted to give it a try, and several months in, so I got it done in August, and then in October, I went to a wedding, and in all of the pictures that I see from the wedding, I do feel like my skin looks markedly improved than it had in the several months prior. And I'm talking about before the Fraxel. I also want to throw in that a few weeks before I did the Fraxel treatment, I did go to Mexico where the sun is super, super intense. So I did want to throw in those pictures so you could see the condition of my skin right before I did get the laser treatment. I was looking at those pictures thinking, okay, this is a good thing. This is something that I do want to make part of my annual regimen. So I went ahead and booked again the next year, did that in April. So there's been a little bit of difference between my first two treatments, and I don't know if it's because there was less sun damage to correct the second go round. But the very first time I had the Fraxel done, my skin texture looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. I kept thinking I looked like I belonged on the set of Star Trek because you get the laser tip marks on your skin. So it's very bumpy, but then also very red. And I would recommend getting it done on a Friday if you don't work weekends. That way you give your skin a few days to recover. And I think at my dermatologist's office, they said not to wear makeup for 3 days. I don't ever wear foundation anyway, but I do wear concealer and I wear eye makeup and blush. So you're still getting makeup particles on your skin. I think the first time I did it, I went ahead and wore makeup after the first couple of days. I did see on a video elsewhere to wait 10 days. So the next time I did it, I waited 10 days before I wore any makeup. Anyway, the first time I did the Fraxel treatment, I'm gonna say it does not feel good. Like, I've had laser hair removal and I was told that it's something similar to that. It is similar, but the laser is a lot hotter, so it does hurt more. So if you've had laser hair removal and you thought that was painful, just know that it is going to be amped up. Plus, it's on your face, so you've got all these bones. It hurts the most on your forehead, cheekbones, like your jawline, just anywhere there is a bone. Your cheeks, that part is the easiest part of the whole procedure. But if you need to take a break, just let them know. They do give you lidocaine to numb you up. I do not think that is adequate. I had some prescription painkillers that had been prescribed to me a few years prior that I didn't take because I just don't really like to take painkillers. And I took one before my first treatment, and I still felt like it wasn't enough with the lidocaine. The next time I went in, I took that prescription pain medication, and then I also took 2 Advil, which I think also helps with the swelling. So just keep that in mind as well. After my first treatment, like I said, I did have the the weird texture that really only lasted maybe 24 hours, and then after that you're just extremely red. But as your skin starts to heal, you do start to get these little black spots. One person described them as pepper flakes. I think that's a good way to describe it. They were very, very fine, very small, and then you just sort of wait for them to flake off. You do not want to pick them off or exfoliate them off, and it's not bad. It's not like a peel. You wouldn't go on there and peel it, but it is just a little dry, and it just you could just kind of brush it away like this. The second time I had it done, I think probably because there was less skin damage, I had less of those peppery flakes. So that was pretty interesting. I also didn't have the weird alien skin texture, the sci-fi alien skin texture. I do feel like the second time around, it took longer to heal, like maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't know if it's because my skin was more sensitive because I had just had the treatment less than a year prior. I thought that was just kind of an interesting observation. Not sure what that's about. Now, my husband, on the other hand, was doing his very first treatment. He does have some acne scarring through his cheeks. It's pretty mild, but when it's on your face, it bothers you. They actually did a mix of Fraxel and IPL on him. I really thought watching his healing process was very, very cool because while I had like those little tiny, finely ground pepper flakes on my skin, his looked like mud splatters. And let me just back this train up a little bit and tell you, my husband does have an irrigation and landscaping business, so he is out in the Texas sun for hours on end every single day for years, and he has not necessarily been amazing about wearing sunscreen, so he has a lot of sun damage. And the great thing about these lasers is that they can get rid of precancerous spots. After you get the laser treatments, your skin is extremely sensitive, and it's also red. People say it looks like you have a sunburn, and when you go out into the sun, it is like no time at all before you can really feel that heat penetrating. So it's kind of a good thing because it ensures that you stay in the shade, and it's also a good reminder to just keep lathering up with sunscreen. I just took mine everywhere I went, and I would reapply every few hours. My husband did the same thing. Also, make sure you take a hat with you. That's what he's been doing. He's been wearing a hat. He's had a lot of people making jokes because he wears a hat all the time, but it's because he's trying to protect his skin. And his results look great. With the acne scarring, they recommend that you do it more often than once a year. So I know he really wants to go in and do it again. I really just wanted to share this video with you so that you could make your own decision about Fraxel. I have seen some horror stories on YouTube. I would just say really make sure that you research the person who is going to do the treatment. Don't just find a Groupon and then just go to some med spa because you don't know who's going to be using the laser. You don't know how much training they've had. It's your face. You're paying money for it. If you are going to laser your face, obviously, it's because you want a certain aesthetic, and if something goes wrong, you're going to be extremely disappointed. So just make sure you really do your research, and if that means that you end up having to pay a few $100s more, so be it. It's going to be a lot better than trying to repair any mistakes that were made because you were trying to go the cheaper route the first way around. And one last thing that I did want to tell you about is that whenever you do get these laser treatments, what they told me at the doctor's office is if you are prone to getting fever blisters, there's a good chance that you might have one pop up. That's something for you to ask your technician, your nurse, your doctor, whoever's doing the treatment about, because I am not in the medical field in any way, shape, or form. I am just somebody who is passing along the information that I received. But if you want to get the Fraxel, I have had a great experience. My husband's had a great experience, and I say go for it.